there's things in my life where I've put like lots of work into. Like I put a lot of work into like when I was like learning guitar. I put a lot of work into like when I did sports. When I did like skateboarding. I would be like super disciplined and like practice all the time and do all this stuff. But like when it came to like academics, it was like, fuck, I cannot like just sit still and like do this stuff. Like it was like really hard for me. So then finally, like I was getting into climbing and like putting all that effort into climbing and like taking care of myself and seeing like how much I was improving and like, and then also just like making a connection with friends of people who are like also giving off that energy. They're fucking trying, they're putting in that work. And it was like cool, like meeting all these people and then being able to, and I was like, all right, if I could do that, then like I can do it for like anything, I just have to like choose to do it.
Right.
And so like, I think that like finally, yeah, after just like getting clean and coming up here, it's just like, yeah, man, like I'm doing this. Like I got my associate's degree back in North Carolina. I don't even know how, but I was able to.
Really?
Yeah, it basically took me 4 years to get a 2-year degree.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
like, but I did it. But it was
Sure.
still just like like obviously it just could have been way better. I was in North Carolina for like 11 or 12 years, and then went out to California to get clean for the second time. Was there for about 3 years. Actually, I went to rehab twice when I was in California because I did have a relapse after like the first time I went to rehab, and then so I went to rehab total 3 times, and then I moved up here like October 2018, and then right before COVID happened, and then I like because like and I got into climbing, and I luckily like right before it shut down, like I met a bunch of people who climbed, and so like when everything shut down, but then we just went outside and climbed.
Oh,
So
that's
like
great.
that was like the most consistent outside climbing that I probably did. Like I've still gone outside quite a bit. Like right now, like it's getting that time. Like we can start doing some cool
Hell
like
yeah.
outdoor stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was just like I'm glad I was able to do that. It really kind of helped me like continue like friendships and stuff even during lockdown. And
Was that big for you? Were you worried? Were you worried that you might relapse again, or were you at a point where you knew that it was over?
by the time I got here, man, I was to the point where like, okay, like I want this. Like I'm like this is like it's not just like a half-ass thing anymore. Like I really want to do it. My mom even like wrote a book about like me, basically about she wrote a book called like Changing Hope. And basically it's a devotional, like a 28-day devotional where she just talks about like, because there's not a lot of information for parents that have, I mean, there is material, but there's like not a lot of stuff that really like talks about like what you can do as a parent when you have like a child that's, it's an addict that's going through things and like you're just feeling helpless. You don't want to like enable them, then you don't know what to do. So she basically just wrote this book, and she didn't even tell me about it until like it was finished. So like, it was just really cool. Like, like I still like apologize to my mom for just all the stress and stuff I put her through.
Sure.
And I feel like I've shaved off years of her life from the stress that I've probably given her. Like they got a call saying that like their 23-year-old son went into cardiac arrest, because like I overdosed. And
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so like, just
Whoa.
like just to have that, I can't imagine like how that feels. And like even man, like, so he was there like when it happened, like he saw me dead. Like he said like I was like completely pale, like my lips were like purple, blue. And
Was this in North Carolina?
this is North Carolina. And my baby mama, I guess, gave me CPR for about 15 or 20 minutes until the EMTs got there. And so I don't know if you know anything about overdoses, but the first thing people usually do is they administer Narcan, which
Right.
like kind of like reverses the effects in your body.
Yeah.
Well, they hit me like 4 times with the Narcan, and it didn't bring me back. So like they used a defibrillator, and they shocked my ass, and I just woke up. And then like I remember waking up to the EMT right there. He was like, "Welcome back, buddy." And I was just like, "Holy shit!" And then they had the body bag like right next to me, because like that was the last straw. Like if that didn't work, then they were just gonna call it, and that was gonna be it. And like it's like really hard for him to like look at me and like talk about that, because he like saw me like lifeless.
Yeah.
For X amount of time. Like
You were on the other side.
yeah, I don't remember, man. All I remember is like I shot up myself, and then I was getting ready. I like remember grabbing like Catherine's arm, and I was like getting ready to like stick her, and then I just woke up. Like I don't even remember what happened. She told me like I just like went like this, and just like fell over, and then I started getting all pale, and she started freaking out. She yelled. I was like, call 911. And then I honestly, like, I think if she didn't give me the CPR, dude, I feel like that really like kept me alive for them to get there. Like,
yeah.
You know, and like the whole twisted part about addiction is like 3 days later, like I was back to getting high again.
Really?
You know what I mean? Like I told myself, oh, like, you know, like I just like, oh, like never again, man. Like I can't do this, blah blah blah. And then, yeah, a couple of days later.
So what was the last straw?
On the drugs. Well, for me, so like the reason why I got out of North Carolina was so, because also, you know, I have Saya. So Saya was like not even 1 year old like when that happened, and so like there were 2 instances where they had to come, like basically we called the ambulance to come show up because like Catherine overdosed once, but she like snapped back out of it before they'd gotten there. So by the time they get there, like you know blah blah blah. But when they came for me, since it was like strike 2, child like CPS basically shows up at the door and says like, hey, like, you know, like they're like, you're not fit to be a parent, and like we're gonna take your kid, like, which is also still kind of crazy. I mean, I do think it's like it's good to get certain kids out, but like Saya was like never neglected. She was never like not loved. We never like did it around her. Like she would like be at her grandparents' house and then be like, okay, now we got the night, you know, we can, you know, do what we want. But basically like that happened, and then I had gotten my first tax refund from like claiming her, like, because you get a bunch of money when you have kids, you know. So I got like $5,000 or something like that, and then like I just went on like a huge fucking spending spree. Well, right. Like I was still on like at that time, I was still on like I was on like a joint bank account, so like with my parents. So like my mom like froze my account and was like, you know, I couldn't get any of my money. She's like, you're coming out here. She's like, you're gonna get clean.
Coming out to Spokane? To
California.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, and I just remember like, okay, yeah, you know, and like I remember just like having talked to I was like, hey man, like I'm going to California. Like, sorry man, like I don't really have a choice. Like my dad's coming over here. My dad my dad was flying out to come help me pack all my shit into like my little Prius that I had at the time, and we just fucking drove all the way to California.